let us get into each of this in detail. First, foundation. So like I said earlier, it was called CPT, and now they've changed the name to foundation. Now, every C examination, so be it foundation, inter, or final, it happens twice in a year. Okay. So now foundation is conducted in May and November, and it has basically 4 papers. Now, I know this is way too detailed for you, because you're just like planning what you're going to do in your future, but I just felt it best you know what is the content, in the sense what are you going to study, if you take up CA. So that's why I'm just adding in even the subjects that will be covered in your examination. Okay. So like you can see in foundation, you have mainly 4 papers, and it's now CA is all about I would say 4 or 5 areas, like we already saw. It's about accounting, auditing, taxation. You learn a lot of law, and even we have financial planning, costing, etc. So any papers you see in every level of CA examination, there'll be any of these topics that's getting covered. Okay. Now, like you can see here, you have accounting, law, now mathematics and logical reasoning. So this is one paper that is there only in foundation. And once you move forward for inter or final, you don't have anything to do with mathematics, etc. But you have to play around with numbers a lot. And then business economics, it's again a theory paper. Now, earlier, like when I was doing my CA course, it was CPT, and CPT used to be objective, in the sense it was 100 marks, objective questions, and it was always MCQ. Now, I think it's been 2-3 years since Institute changed the pattern of the examination. So now we have 2 papers which are subjective, and 2 of them which are objective papers, which I have given here. And this is the criteria which is there throughout the course, that if you want to clear an individual paper, you have to get 40% of marks. But in aggregate, now say example here, you have 400 marks, right? You need to get a total of 200 to clear the examination, right? So 40% to clear each paper, and 50% in aggregate. That's the requirement to clear exam at all the levels. So be it foundation, inter, or final, that's the requirement. Now, what is the challenge here? Now, example, you got 40 in all the papers. It just comes to 160, right? But that's not what is required. You need to have 200 to clear the whole examination. And a key thing that you have to know is you cannot take it paper wise. You can go for group, like for inter or final, you have groups, which I'll explain, but you cannot say, okay, I'm going to write paper 3 of foundation today, and I'm going to write paper 2 of the foundation next attempt. Doesn't work like that. One shot, all 4 papers. And this is the requirement for you to pass the examination. Now, what is the next level? It is intermediate. It was earlier called IPCC, and now they've changed the name to intermediate. Again, this is also conducted twice a year. Like I told earlier, they have inter have got 2 groups, group 1 and group 2. It's your choice. You can write either group 1 or group 2 or both. It is your choice, but yeah, you have got 2 groups. Now, like I said earlier, there's accounting, you will see tax, you will see auditing, you will see some costing and stuff. I'm not gonna go in detail into these, because at your level it will be difficult for you to understand if I go in detail, but you need to know at a high level that first year inter, these are the papers that you're gonna study and you're gonna clear, right? And then, like I said earlier, that the pass criteria is the same. You need to get 40% for each of the papers and 50% in aggregate. Now, one important thing to note here is if you're going to write group wise, right? So first example, that first group, the total is 400. Now you need to get 200 marks. Now, the advantage if you write 2 groups together is that if you have, say, 5 marks less in group 1 and 10 marks more in group 2, still you clear the whole CA intermediate course. So it's considered in total, in simple terms. If you're going to write your whole 8 papers, as long as you get 400 in total, we are good. You do not get 200 in each of the groups. It is going to be taken in aggregate. But that's one advantage if you write both the groups together. I wrote both the groups together for all the levels, like CA, inter, and final. I always give both the groups because you have the advantage of doing that, and then it's always good to get done with it, like keeping one group, clearing that, again you have to do group 2, but the risk is more, but the reward is also more. Now, the main part, the CA final examination, again, it happens twice in a year, and you have two groups of four papers each. And like you can see, the subject almost remains the same. Like at a high level, it's all the financial reporting, it's more like accountancy, I would say, and auditing, law, you have got some theory papers, and then you have got taxation. So those are the key areas that you cover in all the levels of the examination. And like I said earlier, the pass percentage or the criteria remains the same. That you need to get 40% in each paper and 50% in aggregate. Now, details about articleship. Now, this is one very important thing, or one key thing I loved as a chartered accountant student and as a CA. Now, in every other course, if you see, once you are done with your course, you get to know, okay, now what am I supposed to do practically? Now, this is one course or one key advantage about chartered accountancy course that you are already, the moment you clear CA finals, you are ready. You're like, okay, just give me work, I'm ready to do it. Why? Because you did your articleship. You are already practiced for 3 years that, okay, this is what I'm going to do as a chartered accountant. Or once I clear an examination, or once I decide to, okay, start my career as a chartered accountant, this is what is expected out of me. So that's one very important thing that I loved about this course. And trust me, my articleship helped me a lot. The moment I got a job after I became a CA, it's more like you continue doing what you've been doing for the past 3 years. That's one very good advantage about this course. Now, like I said earlier, since you have two routes, like you have foundation route and you have direct entry route, there are two ways in which you can get into articleship. Now, if you're gonna go by the foundation route, like I told earlier, you need to clear your foundation, you need to clear your CA intern, and then you jump into your articleship. But if it's a direct entry route, right, you don't have the foundation there. Like if you can recollect, you don't have foundation. So after your degree, you jump to CA intern directly. Now that is where, like you can see, if you're a commerce graduate or science graduate, as a other graduate as the case may be, you can directly register for intermediate and articleship. That's what is important. Okay, you won't have foundation there. And like I said earlier, you'll have that ITT course, the IT course that is conducted by the ICAI, which is a requirement to be completed before you register for your articleship. Now, again, these key points to consider, I would say it's a bit too early for you, but at a high level, I'll just cover this. Now, what will happen is the moment you decide, okay, I'm going to do articleship, there are various challenges. Okay, one is about the size of the firm. Now, I'm not sure if you've heard of Big Four concept, which is basically the world's top four, you know, firms, which is basically Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, and EY. So it's called the Big Four. It's there. They have presence all over the world, and there are other big firms also like GT, BDO, etc. Now, what will happen is you need to make a choice. Am I going to work in like do articleship in this big organization, or I'm going to do like a mid-sized firm, or I'm going to do like a okay. I have my uncle who's a chartered accountant, so I'll just go and work with him. Like that's one choice you have to make, and then there are various factors, related to these choices you have to make. But I would say it's too early to discuss now. But like once you're done with your inter or once you're done with foundation, that is some. These are the key points that you have to really think about. Now, with respect to assignments, now like I told you, there is a wide range of work that a CA can do when it comes to. It can be like accounting advisory, it can be auditing, it can be taxation, etc. Now, if you're going to choose within departments, right? Should I go for taxation? But it's not compulsory. Like, see where I did my articleship, there are no departments. I got to do taxation work, I got to do auditing, internal audit, like every type of work. So that's another choice that you have to make. And then various things of stipend. So stipend is basically the amount you get paid. There's a minimum amount stipulated by the institute, but there are firms which pay higher. But I would say it's not a criteria that you have to really consider that, as long as you're a student, your objective should be that you need to learn, right? So I would say you can consider it depending on your situation, but that's another thing that a lot of people take into account when they choose where they have to do your articleship. And then another aspect, like I already told you earlier, now you start your CA preparation, final preparation during an articleship period, right? Now, obviously, you need study leave for that. Now, various firms have various policies. So there is a minimum requirement or the minimum number of hours stipulated by institute that a student should get so much hours for preparation. Now there are firms which give much higher or much larger number of days than this, but that's another choice that you can make whether you will get enough time to prepare for your CA finals, right? So these are the key points about your articleship. Now the next aspect. Now, what is the next question? Okay, now I'm done with foundation. I cleared my CA inter. I completed my articleship, and I even completed my CA finals. Okay, now and I got my membership. Now I'm a chartered accountant officially. What next? Right. So, what are the various options or the career path that you have? Right, the moment you become a CA. So like you can see, this is again a bifurcation that I made. Okay. Now, if I can write hundreds of options. Now, at a high level, these are the three things which I felt. Okay. That once you become a CA, this is the choice that you have. Okay. First is to practice a CA. Like I told you, a person, if I want, example, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start a firm of my own, like that is basically this, where you practice on your own, stating that I'm gonna start a firm, I'm going to do my own work. That's basically practice as CA. Or you can even enter into membership. An example, into a partnership, sorry. Now, say example, you have 4 or 5 friends that, you got during your CA finals or articleship. Now you're deciding, okay, you know what? Let us start a firm. Like, let us 4 of us or 5 of us or 2 of us just start a firm and let us put up a firm for us and we can start practicing like that. That's another option that you have. Another thing, no, you're a chartered accountant. Now, why not join with other qualified people also? Now, like that's what you can see here, like partnership with other professions like cost accountants, company secretaries, advocates, etc. So it's always good to have a combination of multiple qualifications, right? So that's another option that you have where you put up your own firm either by your own or in partnership with others. Now, the second option is basically now instead of setting up your own firm, why not join another auditing firm? That's what I'm doing now. So I work with Deloitte. Now, like you can see here, that's the big four I spoke about earlier. Now, there are these firms, or this is where you can go and join. Like, you know what? I want to get the exposure of your huge client base, the huge resources, or the knowledge base that you have. So, what we will do, I'll go and join that firm and I'll work for them, right? Now, the key aspect here is there is a wide range of areas of the work that you can get, like auditing, taxation, advisory. When I say advisory, it's more like accounting. Now, a company is coming to you. You know what? I have this transaction. How do I account it? Or this event happened. What do I do? Like I said, excuse me. It's a wide range of areas that you can cover the moment you become a chartered accountant and the moment you decide to practice like as a chartered accountant. And another aspect here is the industry. Now, say example, you don't want to work, or you don't want to do auditing, or you don't want to practice CA. You can join any company like any other qualification. You can go and join a government company or a banking service or an internal audit team, etc, right? So that's the last choice. I would say I would say I have friends who are in all these streams. Like I have friends who practice as CAs. I have friends who work like me in another CA firm, or I have friends who work in companies like government company, etc. So I would say these are the key streams in which you can move once you become a chartered accountant. Now, another question that I've always heard is people coming and asking me, do you think I can be a CA? Or do you think I can take up this course? I don't think I'm very smart or very hardworking, etc. So I would say you need not be like super smart. See, obviously you have to be smart, but all I'm saying is don't think that I didn't get 99 percentage in my 12th, so I am not qualified to become CA. Nothing like that. So again, these are the key points which I just felt like putting here, so that it's from my thought process. Like I said, the first thing is all about numbers and calculation, because the moment you become a CA or the moment you start your CA course, it's all about numbers and calculation. Okay, that's one thing you should not be a person who I don't like even to do 5 plus 3. It's 8. I know that, but I don't like to do it. If you are that kind of person, I would say CA is not the best fit for you. But if you like to play around with numbers or you like calculations, trust me, this is the best course. Another thing was obviously the prefix that you get. Like when I say I'm CA Prasad Panicker, trust me, you will understand. So it's very valuable in the society. Okay, that's one thing that you need to work for. So I would say, okay, the moment I cleared, I started writing CA everywhere. Like if you see my LinkedIn profile, if you see even my WhatsApp, my name, it's CA Prasad Panicker, because trust me, that's a different feeling altogether. Another thing is about the work hard and make sacrifices. Again, I'm not saying it's compulsory, but all I'm saying is you should be ready for it. Okay, because it's not an easy course. Like you would have heard of it, or even if you just do a bit of research, the number of people who get qualified as CA is very less. Okay, and that what makes this school very supreme. Okay, you really need to be qualified enough to clear this course. So that's the reason I'm just saying you cannot say, you know what, I'm going for this trip and I'll be going for this movie, I have this plans, etc. And if I get time at the end, I'll study. That will not work out. So that's one thing you need to be ready to make sacrifices in life, because I trust me, I've missed a lot of birthday parties, I've missed a lot of family functions, etc. But it was all worth it at the end. So all I'm saying is you should be ready for that. Okay. This is one thing which I kept saying, ready to accept failures, because it's always good to aim, because that's what I did. We never study to fail, right? But you should be ready to accept it, because I took 3 attempts to clear my CA finals. But imagine after the first attempt, I'm like, see, I failed. I'm just done with it. I will not even become a chartered accountant. So all I'm saying is you should be ready to say, okay, I failed in this course. I failed in the attempt, but let me just bounce back with full power. I'm going to clear the next attempt. Okay, that's one attitude you need to really have if you want to take up this course. Another key thing what I felt is there is no fixed time for this course. Okay, you can't just say, okay, today I'm starting my CA foundation. So okay, Prasad told me all this, right? So ideally, I can complete CA in 4 years or 5 years. Okay, so now this is 2022. Okay, 2027, I'm gonna become a CA. It is good to aim for it, but please don't think it's a guarantee. Now, every other course, now if you take up a degree, okay, it's 3 years, 4 years, or if you're gonna take up engineering or doctor, anything, it's a fixed number of years. But this is not like that. Until and unless you clear your exams, you're gonna keep writing it. That's the reason I told you earlier that there are people who are 30 years, 40 years old who still write CA finals and still, that's the spirit you should have, irrespective of the number of years or the time I take, I'm going to complete this course. Okay, trust me, once you become a CA, right, it's an altogether different feeling. So I just wanted you to know the importance of this profession or the course, or before you decide are you the best fit, just think of the situation once you clear the exams. Okay, now this is an extract from Reliance India's annual report, right? Now, like you can see, it's not something confidential. Okay, if you just go and Google, you will get it. I just thought of showing you this. Now, like you can see, there's something called payment to auditors, and this amount are in crores. So, like you can see here, last year they had paid 34 crores as their audit fees. Okay, now I know you would have heard, oh, CA, they get paid for the sign. You put a sign, you get an amount. It's way too much exaggeration, but all I'm saying is, to an extent, it's a fact. Okay, but another aspect here is the amount of fees that they pay. And I know you would all be thinking, why is it so important? Like, what do you think? Why would they pay 34 crores? Now, I think one key aspect which I have covered earlier is I kept saying the word auditing. Now, you will ask me, what is auditing? Okay. I'll explain this to you in a very simple example. Now, imagine you're in school or in college. Okay. You're going for a school trip or a college trip. Now you got say 25,000 advance from your organization. You're like, okay, guys, you go and spend. We are giving you 25,000, but make sure you keep a track of your expenses. So your trip got over. You came back. What do? You make a list. We incur this, etc. You are saying the total cost is say 35,000. Now, do you think the school will, okay, great, take the 10,000? Will they do it? No. What they will do? They will cross check, right? They will check the listing. They will ask you for the bills or the invoices. right? They will ask you, why did you incur this? They will ask you a lot of questions. At the end, once they are convinced, okay, this 35,000 is right, then they will pay you the balance 10,000. Auditing is somewhat similar to that. Okay. Excuse me. Only difference, it is at a very, very high level. I just made it sound very simple, but that's not what it is. Okay. Now, let me take the example of Reliance. Now, say example, Reliance is telling that, I made 50,000 crores of revenue in the last quarter. Now, how do we rely on that? How do you know it's correct? That's where the auditors come into the picture, or that's where the CA come into the picture. So we, as chartered accountants, go there, verify the invoices or the system, etc., what they have, and we give an audit report. And that's why they pay us. We'll say, okay, that we have checked their books of accounts, we have verified what they are saying, and then whatever the 50,000 crores or etc. what they're saying is right. Okay. So I'm keeping it very simple so that you understand it. But the whole point is that's what is auditing. Okay. For a company, their revenue, expenses, profit, assets, liability, etc., whatever they have, we will be verifying it, right? And then we will be issuing a report stating that what they have disclosed is right. In simple terms, that is auditing. And that's what chartered accountants do when they practice. But when they work in a company, it depends on what department they work. They might be recording entries, they might be doing reconciliations, etc. It all depends on the stream what you choose. Okay. Now, these are the various questions that I got, from various people, like in LinkedIn or any other profile. When I say I'm a chartered accountant, they'll be like, how do you feel? What does a typical day look like as an accountant? Or what is the most interesting fact about this field? Why do you love your job, etc.? So I just thought of putting this in a slide and explaining to you. I would say the most interesting fact, like I already told you earlier, that we it's first thing, it's like a premier title that you get, CA Prasad Panicker or CA Rahul or CA Anjali, etc. It all depends on that CA, that prefix is very valuable. You will understand once you get it. Second aspect is about the work. Now I'm a person who's doing auditing, and I already explained to you what auditing is. Now, say example, I'm going to a company and I have a question, and I can just say, you know what, I want to have a meeting with the CFO or the director or even the owner of the organization. Now you have that privilege, or you have that power, and that is what is very important about this profession, right? Now, it's more like the when you get that power to go and verify. Or so now example, they are saying, I have this huge machinery which is 500 crores. I can go and say, you know what, I want to verify that. So all I'm saying is that is one key interesting aspect about this field, that you get to verify, you get to talk to a lot of people who are highly qualified and holds very, very high position in organization and in society. And another key aspect about this course is all about, you need to keep studying. Okay, just because you are a CA, you're done. It doesn't end like that. Okay, now I'll tell you a typical example. If I go to a family function, the first question I get, you know what? When am I supposed to file my tax returns? Okay, or I heard this news. Is it right? Or I heard that they changed this exemption to so much amount. So that's one thing it's a good thing and a bad thing, because you can't just say, you know what, I cleared CA 2 years back, so I don't know the answer. You can't say that. So you need to be updated always. Okay, at least about the things that you do. For example, auditing, accounting, taxation, etc. Now, say our finance minister is presenting the budget. The moment it's done, we start getting questions. Trust me, that's what was happening in real life. The moment it's done, I get questions. Hey, I heard this. Is it right? Hey, I heard this is a declaration. You think it's good? I have 10 lakh salary. How can I pay less tax? You get a lot of questions. So one good thing about the schools is you need to be updated always. Like as on today, what are the updates that's there? You need to be really, really aware of that. Okay. And a typical day as an accountant, it depends again, like I told you, about the stream that you have chosen. Now, if it's from my aspect, now because of Corona, it's work from home. So it's all about waking up, like any other course, wake up, have your breakfast, sit in front of your laptop, start working, take breaks in between, go to sleep. So that's one thing that's there. But otherwise, it's amazing because you get to go to client locations. Okay, when if you are choosing to become like a practicing accountant, or you work for a CA firm, the good thing is you get to visit a lot of client locations. You get to interact with people. You get to verify their documents. You get to visit a lot of their factories or the various plants that they have. Now, if you ask me about my experience, I got to travel to Delhi, Gujarat, a lot of places in Tamil Nadu. It was amazing in the sense we get to interact with a lot of people. That's one very good aspect about this, that you get to interact with the CFOs or the directors or the CEOs or such big shots. And even during a training period, like the 3 years articleship, like I said, all these travels were during that period. Now imagine 21 years old you going to Delhi, talking to the director of a government company. Trust me, it's an amazing feeling. So all I'm saying is that's how it is. You get to work with a lot of people and you get to learn a lot. The exposure you get is really, really, really great. All right. So I think I almost covered these questions. So just to brush up what we discussed till now, CA, I already told you, CA is about getting the professional qualification. What are the various fields that you cover? It's basically accounting, auditing, taxation, law, I would say some extent of costing, projections, etc. Right? And what are the 4 levels you have? You've got foundation, you've got CA inter, you do your articleship, and then you appear for your CA finals. And once you're done with your CA finals, you need to get your membership. And once you are officially a chartered accountant, what is the next step? It is about which career prospect or which career path you're going to choose, and which is mainly practice as a chartered accountant, work for a CA firm, or work in a private organization in any other company, right? And then, yeah, I think those are the key aspects that we covered about the course and about ICAI and CA. So I hope the session was really helpful for you. And please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. That is my email ID in case if you want to reach out to me directly. And it was a pleasure taking this session, and I'm really, really thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, I really look forward to talk to you also. Thank you and have a nice day.